friends, my name is Aubrey. Welcome back to my channel. So I want to start today by just saying thank you to everyone who commented on my previous video with my fall media recommendations. I was very happy to see the positive feedback, and I would like to do more videos in the future that are talking about stories in all of their mediums and not just books, although this will still be a mostly book focused channel. But for today, for instance, we are returning to the bookish content and we are going to go through my October book haul. So I am filming this on Tuesday the 29th, so the month is not quite over yet, but I don't think anything else is coming in the next 2 days, and I am going to be busy tomorrow because my cat Ash, if you guys watch the pet clips at the ends of these videos, you will have seen him. He has a doctor's appointment tomorrow for his genetic condition. It's eosinophilic granuloma. So he's going to see an allergist, which hopefully they'll be able to help him. So we have that tomorrow, and then Thursday is Halloween, and I really don't want to have to be editing or anything on Halloween. I want to enjoy the spooky festivities, so filming this a little bit early. But as usual, we're going to go through all of the books based on where I got them, and we do have quite a few to go through today because I had a lot of pre-orders come in. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so first I did receive one book as a gift this month. So my brother and his girlfriend came down to visit at the beginning of October, and he brought me a copy of the Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury because he had ended up having 2 editions of this, and he knows that I love Something Wicked This Way Comes, and so he thought that I would enjoy this. Ray Bradbury's Mars is a place of hope, dreams, and metaphor, of crystal pillars and fossil seas, where a fine dust settles on the great, empty cities of a silently destroyed civilization. It is here the invaders have come to despoil and commercialize, to grow and to learn. First a trickle, then a torrent, rushing from a world with no future toward a promise of tomorrow. The Earthman conquers Mars, and then is conquered by it, lulled by dangerous lies of comfort and familiarity, and enchanted by the lingering glamour of an ancient, mysterious race. So I do think that this is a collection of like shorter stories that all kind of go together to make this longer narrative, and it is obviously sci-fi. And I haven't read a ton of Ray Bradbury. I love Something Wicked This Way Comes, excuse me. I enjoyed Fahrenheit 451, and that's all I've read by him, so I'm excited to try something else. Then the next few books that I have here, I actually got that same weekend when my brother and his girlfriend were here. We went out to eat after church and to a bookstore in a nearby town that I had never been to before. And this particular bookstore had a combination of used books and new. Unfortunately, most of the ones they had were new, which is fine, but obviously they were selling them at retail prices. And so the 3 of us, plus our friend Jacob and my mom, we all went to the little used book section and kind of perused it, and we all ended up making some purchases. So I have a couple. The first one that I got is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. This is the first book in, I think it's Dangerous Damsels, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put the correct series name on the screen. But this is by India Holton. A prim and proper lady thief must save her aunt from a crazed pirate and his dangerously charming henchman in this fantastical historical romance. Cecilia Basingthwaite is the ideal Victorian lady. She's also a thief. Like the other members of the Wisteria Society crime sorority, she flies around England drinking tea, blackmailing friends, and acquiring treasure by interesting means. Sure, she has a dark and traumatic past and an overbearing aunt, but all things considered, it's a pleasant experience. Until the men show up. Ned Lightbourne is a sometime assassin who is smitten with Cecilia from the moment they meet. Unfortunately, that happens to be while he's under direct orders to kill her. His employer, Captain Morvath, who possesses a Gothic abbey bristling with cannons and an unbridled hate for the world, intends to rid England of all its presumptuous women, starting with the Wisteria Society. Ned has plans of his own, But both men have made one grave mistake: never underestimate a woman. When Morvath imperils the Wisteria Society, Cecilia is forced to team up with her handsome would-be assassin to save the women who raised her, hopefully proving once and for all that she's as much of a scoundrel as the rest of them. So I don't know, it sounds really fun. It's got like period Victorian historical romance to it. And it sounds like it's going to have a lot to say about like gender equality and gender norms and roles in society and things like that. I really hope I enjoy it. It sounds fun, and I've heard people praise it, and it is the first in a series, so I know that there's at least one other one out at this point. Then this next one I have heard so much praise about for so long, and I'm so excited to finally get to find out what all of the excitement is about. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And this is the Book of the Month edition, because they did have that in that used section at that bookstore. So many people love Addie LaRue. So many people. And I've never read it, and I'm really excited to do so. Never pray to the gods that answer after dark. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her Faustian bargain, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to live, and she is determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide, beckoning world, even if she will be doomed to be alone forever. Or not quite alone, as every year on her birthday, the alluring Luke, L-U-C, Luke maybe, comes to visit, checking to see if she is ready to give up her soul. Their darkly thrilling game stretches through the ages, seeing Addie witness history and fight to regain herself as she crosses oceans and tries on various lives. It will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name, and suddenly everything changes again. So yeah, I know it's got romance. That's really about all I know. And I knew the basic premise. We have a girl who trades death who gets immortality in exchange for everyone forgetting her after they meet her. And I think that sounds like a really interesting premise, and I'm really excited to actually find out what this story is about. Then I got 2 books in the same series, and that is Carnival by Toya Mikanagi. This is a manga, so we have volume 1 and volume 2. And I'm not sure if these are omnibuses, like if they were originally published in smaller singles, or if this is how they were originally published. But I'm so excited for this. I have wanted to read Carnival for years, ever since I first saw the first few episodes of the anime. And the manga is just, it's kind of expensive because it is so big. But I'm just really, really, really excited. And look, it's got more character art on the back covers. And I need to figure out a way to get these stickers off. They're not easily removable, unfortunately. I don't think there's a synopsis on these, but I know that we follow our main character here, and he meets this guy. I think his name is Gareki. I can't remember his name, but he meets this guy, and this guy is like a thief or con artist or something along those lines. And our main character is very innocent, has perhaps some abilities, perhaps is not completely human, and has lost some of his memory, and he's trying to find someone who's very important to him. And they end up getting enmeshed in this secret society known as Carnival. And that's really all I remember from what I've seen of the anime, but I'm really, really excited to read the manga, because from what I remember, the characters are really fun. I really liked them. I'm really interested in where the story actually goes. And then the last book that I got from that bookstore is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. And again, this is the Book of the Month edition. Years ago, a reclusive, mega best-selling author quit writing under mysterious circumstances. Suddenly, he resurfaces with a brand new book and a one-of-a-kind competition, offering a prize that will change the winner's life. Make a wish. Lucy Hart knows better than anyone what it's like to grow up without parents who loved her. In a childhood marked by neglect and loneliness, Lucy found her solace in books, namely the Clock Island series by Jack Masterson. Now a 26-year-old teacher's aide, Lucy is able to share her love of reading with bright young students, especially 7-year-old orphan Christopher Lamb. Lucy would give anything to adopt Christopher, but even the idea of becoming a family seems like an impossible dream without proper funds and stability. Just when Lucy is about to give up, Jack Masterson announces he's finally written a new book. Even better, he's holding a contest at his home on the real Clock Island, and Lucy is one of the 4 lucky contestants chosen to compete to win the one and only copy. For Lucy, the chance of winning the most sought-after book in the world means everything to her and Christopher. But first, she must contend with ruthless book collectors, wily opponents, and the distractingly handsome and grumpy Hugo Reese, the illustrator of the Clock Island books. Meanwhile, Jack, the mastermind Masterson, is plotting the ultimate twist ending that could change all their lives forever. So, I really am a big proponent of adoption, and I love found family in books, and I am just really excited to see where this one goes. I also think the commentary about like financial stability and how much of an impact not having that can have on so much of your life that people don't even think about a lot of the time, I think is going to be really impactful. So I'm really hopeful that I'm going to like this. I'm really excited to read it. And it's got kind of like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibe to it, where you're chosen to go be in this competition to win a prize from this mysterious figure. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited. All right, so now we're going to go through all of the books that I got from Barnes & Noble. So all of these were pre-orders. So the first one that I have is The Wood at Midwinter. This is the second book in Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. And this edition, it's like a naked hardcover. It's not cloth bound, but it's like also kind of textured. It's so pretty. So pretty. 19-year-old Meraudis Scott is an unusual girl, and I'm so sorry if I pronounced her name incorrectly. She can talk to animals and trees, and she is only ever happy when she is walking in the woods. One snowy afternoon, out with her dogs and Apple the pig, Meraudis encounters a blackbird and a fox. As darkness falls, a strange figure enters in their midst, and the path of her life is changed forever. So it's a sequel. It's like a standalone sequel to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which is right there, which I read and I very, very much enjoyed. And this edition is illustrated by Victoria Saldon. So it has really beautiful pictures throughout it, and it is very, very short. But I imagine we're just going to get another glimpse into the magic in England, and I really love how it relates to like nature and the Fae, like the other world in Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So I'm really excited to see how she's going to incorporate that here in this smaller tale that seems to follow a child. I'm just very excited. I'm going to be reading Pure Nessie soon, which will be my next foray into Susanna Clarke's works. And when I saw this one announced, I had to pre-order it because I really, really enjoyed Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and I'm really excited to get back into this world. Then I got a copy of The Last Dragon of the East by Katrina Kwan, and this cover art is just so pretty. Cover art is just beautiful. At the spry young age of 25, Sai has led a quiet life, barely keeping the family tea house up and running while taking care of his ailing mother. But he's parlayed a not-so-secret gift into a side career. He can see the red threads of fate between soulmates, which lends itself nicely to matchmaking. Sai has never tried to follow his own thread, which is gray and fraying. But Sai's ordinary existence is about to be turned upside down. When his mother's doctor sells him a pair of dragon scales, claiming they're a miracle cure, Sai is pretty sure he's being scammed. When the medicine actually works, Sai finds himself forced by his ruthless emperor into the search for a dragon thought long extinct. Thrown into the heart of a brewing war, he must face down terrifying challenges both magic and mortal. And for the very first time, he may discover who's at the other end of his thread of fate. So I do think this is a romance, I'm pretty sure. And it's got a lot of Chinese mythology in here about dragons and the red string of fate. And I love Chinese mythology. I love Chinese legends and Chinese settings. So I'm really excited to read this. And I also love cute romances and dragons. So this just sounds like it has so much that I'm going to enjoy. Then we have a very similar book, which is Legend of the White Snake by Shirley. And again, this cover art is absolutely gorgeous. When Prince Shen was a boy, a white snake bit his mother and condemned her to a slow death. Shen has never stopped looking for the only known cure, an elusive spirit pearl, or an antidote created from the rare white snake itself. Desperate, Shen travels to the city of Changla, where an oracle predicted he would find a white snake. 7 years earlier, Jen, a white snake, stumbled across a spirit pearl. Consuming it gave him the ability to change into human form. In Changla, Shen encounters an intriguing young man, Jen. The two are drawn to each other, but it becomes clear to Jen that he is the white snake Shen seeks. As their feelings grow, how much longer can Jen hide his true identity? So again, we have a romance and with Chinese mythology. And I'm loving it. I'm loving all of these Chinese settings that have been coming out lately, and I'm really excited to try this one as well. Then the next two books also have romance, because apparently that's the theme for my Barnes & Noble pre-orders that came in this month. So next we have Swordcrossed by Freya Marske, and this is the first printing, so it has the pretty red sprayed edges, and it also just has really pretty end papers as well. Matinesh J, dutiful heir to his struggling family business, needs to hire an experienced swordsman to serve as best man for his arranged marriage. A sword challenge at the ceremony could destroy all hope of restoring his family's wealth, something that Maddie has been trying and failing to do for the past 10 years. What he can afford, unfortunately, is part-time con artist and full-time charming menace Luca Pierre. Luca, for his part, is trying to reinvent himself in a new city. All he wants to do is make some easy money and try to forget the crime he committed in his hometown. He didn't plan on being blackmailed into giving sword lessons to a chronically responsible and inconveniently handsome wool merchant like Maddie. However, neither Maddie's business troubles nor Luca himself are quite what they seem. As the pair begin to cut through the knot of intrigue and sabotage that has brought Maddie's house to the brink of ruin, Luca begins to pierce the armor around Maddie's guarded heart. But on the eve of Maddie's wedding, when Luca's secrets threaten their growing alliance, they will both have to answer one question. How many lies are you prepared to strip away when the truth could mean losing everything you want? So, again, another, I don't know if this is Victorian or Regency or what, but another romance, historical romance. Sounds fun. I think it sounds fun. And we have sword fighting, which I love. And then the last book that I got from Barnes & Noble in the month of October is Sorcery and Small Magics, which is the first book in the Wilder Songs by Maiga Ducey. When two rival sorcerers are bound together by a curse and forced on a quest deep into the perilous forest to find a counterspell, they may find that magic is not the only thing pulling them together in this enchanting tale from debut author Maiga Ducey. Leavander Lovage is a master of small magics. He can summon butterflies with a song or turn someone's hair pink by snapping his fingers. Anything more elaborate always blows up in his face, and so Leo vowed long ago never to use powerful magic again. That is, until a mishap with a forbidden spell binds Leo to obey the commands of his longtime rival, Sebastian Grimm. The only thing they can agree on is that they need a counterspell, and fast. Chasing rumors of a powerful sorcerer with a knack for undoing curses, Leo and Grimm enter the Unquiet Wood, a forest infested with murderous monsters and dangerous outlaws alike. To break the curse, they will have to uncover the true depths of Leo's magic, set aside their rivalry, and, much to their horror, work together. This just sounds so cute. And I love magic like this, where you can do all of these like different things with it, and kind of like Harry Potter-esque magic where there are just so many different small things that you can do that are just magical and you know, ethereal and wonderful. But within like the Wizarding Society, you have these different like types of spells and different power levels, and it just sounds so fun. But the romance sounds really cute. We've got like rivals to lovers, it sounds like. And the cover, again, is just really pretty. So I'm really excited to try this one as well, because apparently I'm excited to try all of these, which makes sense, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't have bought them. Alright, so now we're going to go through all of the books that I have gotten from Books A Million. So the first one, again, is a pre-order, and that is book 2 of Ballad of Sword and Wine, or Cheng Jin Zhou by Tong Zhou Qing. So I can't read the synopsis of this one because it is the second book, but this is a danmei, so it is a romance set in China, in ancient China specifically. And I know that in this one, I think we have 2 political enemies or rivals or people on opposite sides of like this political situation, and they're forced to kind of team up, work together, and things kind of ensue. That's about all I remember from the synopsis of the first one, but I don't know, I'm excited to try this series. And so the second book, I'm pretty sure was on sale when it was on pre-order. Like they were having one of those Millionaire Club member sales. And so I went ahead and ordered a copy. But the next thing that I got from Books A Million is a box set, and it's really heavy. But I got the first 4 books in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. So this is a series in his Cosmere, which I have only recently started reading. I read Elantris earlier this year and loved it so much. So I am definitely planning on continuing the Cosmere. I need to get Arcanum, is it Unbounded? I think is what it's called. It's like different short stories and novellas that have been collected into one volume, because I'm pretty sure that the next thing publication-wise is one of those short stories. So I need to get that. But this was on sale, a significant sale, and I have decided I want to have the hardcovers so that they all of my Cosmere books will match. That's my plan. So I ordered this, and I also pre-ordered the 5th book, Wind and Truth, even though it's going to be a little while until I get to these. At least I have them now. So once I get through some of the Arcanum Unbounded stuff, and then Mistborn Era 1, I'll be able to start the Cosmere, or not the Cosmere, the Stormlight Archive right away. And also, if you're curious, this is what the box looks like. So, oof, these books are really heavy in hardback, let me just tell you. So first we have book 1, The Way of Kings, and these are all by Brandon Sanderson. I don't remember if I mentioned his name earlier. And then book 2, Words of Radiance. Book 3, Oathbringer. And book 4, Rhythm of War. So I'll just read the synopsis for the first book. Oh my gosh, they're so heavy. Roshar is a world of stone and storms. Uncanny tempests of incredible power sweep across the rocky terrain so frequently that they have shaped ecology and civilization alike. Animals hide in shells, trees pull in branches, and grass retracts into the soilless ground. Cities are built only where the topography offers shelter. It has been centuries since the fall of the 10 consecrated orders known as the Knights Radiant, but their shard blades and shard plate remain, mystical swords and suits of armor that transform ordinary men into near invincible warriors. Men trade kingdoms for shard blades. Wars are fought for them and won by them. One such war rages on a ruined landscape called the Shattered Plains. There, Kaladin, who traded his medical apprenticeship for a spear to protect his little brother, has been reduced to slavery. In a war that makes no sense, where 10 armies fight separately against a single foe, he struggles to save his men and to fathom the leaders who consider them expendable. Bright Lord Dalinar Kholin commands one of those armies. Like his brother, the late king, he is fascinated by an ancient text called the Way of Kings. Troubled by overpowering visions of ancient times and the Knights Radiant, he has begun to doubt his own sanity. Across the ocean, an untried young woman named Shallan seeks to trade under the eminent scholar and notorious heretic Jasna Kholin, Dalinar's niece. Though she genuinely loves learning, Shallan's motives are less than pure. As she plans a daring theft, her research for Jasna hints at secrets of the Knights Radiant and the true cause of the war. Speak again the ancient oaths. Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination, and return to men the shards they once bore. The Knights Radiant must stand again. Okay, so if you don't know, the Cosmere is like a bunch of interconnected standalones and series that take place within the same universe, and by universe I do mean that some of them are taking place on different planets in this case. But I've heard so much praise for the Stormlight Archive in particular and the Cosmere in general, and I have to agree, after having read Elantris, I'm just really excited to continue my foray into Brandon Sanderson's works. And I also recently found out that these are actually illustrated, which I wish more books did that in the standard editions. So I'm super excited to get into these once I have caught up to this point in the Cosmere. Okay, so continuing on with all of my Books Million books, I did receive a number of pre-orders from them as well. The first one is, well, I guess Ballad of Sword and Wine was a pre-order. So the second one is The Last Dragon on Mars. This is the first book in the Dragon Ships by Scott Rentgen. And this first edition printing does have really beautiful sprayed edges that look like dragon scales. And the reverse dust jacket has the full artwork of the dragon's head on it, which is really cool. Keep your eyes down and your feet moving, or this planet will rust you. That's what Lunar Jones tells the other kids at the relocation clinic. All of them were born on Mars, a planet that never wanted people in the first place. With resources scarce and hope even scarcer, it's easy to get distracted looking up. After all, their ancestors descended from the stars. Martian history always starts with Earth. The first astronauts discovered that space was already occupied, not by little green men or flying saucers. It was full of dragons. One for every moon, every planet, every star. When humanity discovered that Earth's dragon had sacrificed herself to make their home planet habitable, they set their sights on Mars. If one dead dragon could breathe life into a world, why not create another one? Mankind won the war that followed, but with one catch. As the dragon died, he whispered a curse over Mars. The first settlers found their crops wouldn't grow. Animals hunted them. Storms raged endlessly. It took 3 generations to figure out the truth. Mars was doomed. Lunar knows all the old stories about dragons in space, but no one up there is planning to help him or his crew. Instead, he focuses on scrapping valuable gear that the storms uncover in the war zone. It helps that he has a nose for treasure. Until one day, a salvaging run goes wrong. Desperate to find shelter, Lunar goes underground in a restricted zone. What he finds there, buried in the Martian dust, might just be the only hope left for a dying planet. I think we can all probably guess what he finds. I'm so excited. I love dragons so much, and I'm so just enamored with all of the dragon content that has been coming out lately. It just makes my heart so happy. So I'm really excited about this because dragons and sci-fi is not something that I particularly have found in books. So this is really exciting, and I do think this is YA, I think, but I really hope I like it. I really hope I like it so that I can continue this series as it releases, and I'm just here for all of the dragon stories that we've been getting lately. Speaking of dragon stories, the next one that I have to show you, I'm so happy it finally came, and that is the deluxe edition of Murtagh by Christopher Paolini. So this is the 5th book in his inheritance cycle, not counting like the short story collection. Y'all, this is my 3rd edition now of Murtagh, and I haven't read it yet because I pre-ordered the standard edition, and then I also ordered the broken binding edition when it was announced, and they both came in really close together. But by the time they came in, they were already announcing the deluxe edition like soon after that, because I didn't read them right away because I had a lot going on and I wanted to have time to like devote to it, because the inheritance cycle is one of my favorite series of all time, and it just means a lot to me. I read Aragon like at least 20 times in middle school, not exaggerating, and it just means so much to me, and I wanted to have time to devote to it. So like by the time I was ready to read it, they'd already announced the deluxe edition, which has some like extra content in it. So it's like, well, I'm just gonna wait till that comes out and then read out of that one. So look at how beautiful. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And then the sprayed edges. And then we have the map onto the end papers. And then the back end papers. It's just beautiful. It's just so pretty. But in this particular book, we follow Murtagh and his dragon Thorn after the events of the inheritance cycle. And that's really all that I want to say, because I don't want to spoil anything about the inheritance cycle if you haven't read it. But y'all, I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled to have this in my possession. And I think I'm gonna read it maybe at the beginning of December, because my birthday is December 10th, and I think that would be a really nice birthday present for myself to be able to continue one of my favorite series. So that's my plan. Alrighty, and then this next one was not a pre-order. I saw it when I was doing a little research into Aloha Comics, Aloha Comics is a production company that has been releasing some manhwa. They have Link Click, Nirvana in Fire, Here You Are, and I think there's another one. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I was doing a little research into the release dates for like the second volumes in some of those series. And I found that they have also released this little short comic called Suckers by Karki. And it just looked really silly and fun. And I love vampires. So I got a copy. Okay, a sucker and a bloodsucker in a thrilling slice of life comedy. What are you up for? Friendship, bromance, or BL? Do you know how hard it is for a 20-year-old guy to live independently? Rent, food, expensive hobbies. Plus, you have to find time to hang out with friends and not get burnt out at work. Lamoni Peters knows. And when some freak shows up in his backyard claiming to be a vampire, promising eternal life, Lim agrees without a second thought. Wait a minute. What makes this pompous jerk think he can crash at Lim's house? That wasn't part of the deal. Where will the bizarre proximity of a supernatural being and an almost not human lead? To a deadly rivalry or a friendship for the ages? It just sounds so silly and so fun. And again, I love vampires. It's full color. It's really short. So I got a copy with my monthly coupon for Books A Million. If you don't know, they have a 15% off coupon that you can use every month. The code changes each month, so it's not the same code, but you can use it once a month. And so I used it to get this, and then also to get the other 3 books in my little Books A Million section of this haul, which the second one is Bringer of Dust by J.M. Miro. Oops, I've got grass on it. This is the second book in the Talents trilogy. I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy. The first one being Ordinary Monsters, which I am planning to read in November. So I got the second one because it was already on sale, I think, and then my 15% off coupon helped. But these covers just continue to be beautiful. Like, they're really simple, but they're gorgeous. Ordinary Monsters is black with like a crow or raven in the little window. So pretty. But this is the second book, so I'm not going to read the synopsis. The first one, it has to do with children who have extraordinary powers and someone who is trying to take them to this place where they will be protected, and there's some kind of like dark person or entity or something that is after them. And it's supposed to be very, very atmospheric, and I just think it's going to be really good for fall, so I am planning to start this series in November, and if I really like it, then I can jump directly into the second book, which is very exciting. Then this next one I actually had never heard of before, and then I saw a copy in that bookstore that I went to with my family and my friend that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and I thought the premise sounded right up my alley. So when I was making this little Books A Million order using my coupon, I looked it up and they had it in stock, and so I got a copy. But that is Under the Earth, Over the Sky by Emily McCosh. Seven crows fly to their king beneath the earth. Their wings are heavy with snowmelt. Their wings are heavy with snowmelt, their beaks with gossip, for there are men on the edge of the fair woods, crude weapons in hand, expressions edged with worry, and human feet have not touched the path close to the mountain in a dragon's age. In the woods where human lands meet Fae, an ancient king born before the history of men finds a dying babe. Ayamar will take the child in, care for him, until he finds a suitable home in the human realm. But best-laid plans often go awry in the lands of Lotwil, where the winds are wild, the mountains high, and the woods are steeped in magic so deep even Ayamar, king beneath the earth, is susceptible to their will. Magic will break, enemies and shadows will encroach, and memories thousands of years lost will unravel as Ayamar struggles not only to protect his fair folk, but save the little human son he never should have saved in the first place. So we have found family, and sounds like Fae or elves or some sort of like non-human people, and he finds a little boy and takes him in, and it just sounds really good. I'm very intrigued, and I'm really, 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 really hoping to read this one soon. Then the last book that I got from Books A Million in October is one that I have had my eye on for a very long time, and I finally, making this order, decided I was going to get it because I'm just so excited over this premise. It just sounds so cool. But that is Us in Ruins by Rachel Moore. She has another book out that I'm also really interested in. I'll put the picture like up here so you can see it. But I went ahead and got this one because I just think it sounds amazing. The mythical vase of Venus Aurelia hasn't been seen since 1932, but Margot Rhodes is determined to change that. Drawn by the vase's supposed magical properties, Margot embarks on her school's archaeological trip to Pompeii. Sure, it's her first time holding a shovel, but she's got something no one else does. Lost teenage explorer Van Keen's journal. Poring over the poetic entries that serve as a map to the vase's missing shards, Margot finds herself falling in love with the boy who wrote them a century ago. She's shocked when her search leads her to a statue that looks exactly like Van, and then the statue comes to life. Catapulted into the present, Van is nothing like the wordsmith Margot imagined. He's all sharp edges, intent on retrieving the relic for the wrong reasons. But it takes two to survive Venus's death-defying challenges, and together Margot and Van must excavate the treasure and their buried pasts before their story ends in ruins. It just sounds so good. Romance. Greek, Roman, Venus, so Roman mythology. They go to Pompeii, which is a place that I have been super obsessed with and interested in, and like since I was a kid. I love watching documentaries about Pompeii, archaeological digs. I also am super interested in archaeology, not that I like have any experience or knowledge of how to do it, but I love listening to archaeologists talk and listening to their discoveries and watching shows about archaeology. In fact, I've been currently watching the new season of Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates with my mom because Expedition Unknown is one of our favorite shows. And this book sounds incredible, incredible. I am so excited. Plus, I love books that deal with archaeology and specifically, and movies. It like always makes me think a little bit about stuff like The Mummy and things like that. I just love it. I just love it. And I'm so excited because I love Greek and Roman lore and mythology, love Pompeii, love Italy. I'm so excited. Okay, so I forgot to mention a book, but I also got volume 9 of A Gentle Noble's Vacation Recommendation by Misaki Momochi, Lamp Maganote, and Sando. This is a manga series that I absolutely adore. We follow a main character, Lizel, here in the blue, and it is an isekai, so one day he wakes up in a new world that he is very unfamiliar with. He's never been there before, and he decides, because in his old world he's a noble, he decides that he wants to become an adventurer in this new world and kind of take it as like a vacation from his normal duties. So he meets Gil here in the black, who is one of the most accomplished adventurers, and they become friends. Gil is like kind of hired to protect Lizel as he's figuring out this new world, and then we just kind of watch them going on adventures and interacting with people. Lizel is very, very good with people. He's very good at getting what he wants. He's very, very intelligent and charismatic. And they like meet new people, make new friends. It's really fun. Our characters are all like, our main characters are all really overpowered, but I'm okay with that. I know some people don't like it, but I really do. And I just think it's really fun. It's just a very, very fun series, and I'm really enjoying the current arc that we're in. So that's actually why I forgot to mention it in the video, is because I had already taken it out of my stack so that I could read it, because I'd actually just finished reading volume 8. So there you go. I also got this one. Okay, so then I also got 2 pre-orders from Crunchyroll that came in. The first one is this little box set from the series Horimiya, or Hori-san and Miyamura-kun, by Hiro and Daisuke Hagiwara. So I haven't started Horimiya yet, but everyone that I know who's read it tells me I'm gonna love it, and I see so much praise for it online. And they announced this little special box set of volume 17, A Piece of Memories, which like comes after the main series, and the memorial book bonus track. So I went ahead and got the box set because I wanted to be able to get the little memorial book and have the cute little slipcover. So I pre-ordered it. I broke my rule and pre-ordered further along into a series I haven't started yet, but that's okay. Oh dear. So I know that Horimiya is a romance between our 2 main characters, Hori and Miyamura, and that's really all I know, and that is really, really cute. I think it takes place in high school, and so many people love it, and that's really all I know, and that I've been told that I'm gonna love it. But this new edition has 4 new chapters, 3 side stories, a final chapter from Hori's perspective, and then the cool little memorial book. So very, very cool that they released this. I love when English manga publishers put out this like extra content that seems to be so prevalent in Japan, and I feel like we only get a fraction of it in English. So it's always exciting when they put out like extra things like anthologies and fan books and memorial books and things like that. So then the other pre-order that came in from Crunchyroll is My Dear Detective Mitsuko's Case Files by Natsume Ito. This is volume 1. Also, really cute artwork. Look at the little kitty. There's no case she won't take. Hoshino Mitsuko is a determined and hard-working woman living in the 1920s, where career women are a rarity and looked down upon. Despite rampant sexism and pressure to stay home, she's determined to prove herself as a successful detective no matter what. One day, she's approached by the handsome waiter Yoshida Saku, who presents Mitsuko with her very first solo case. Together, the two work closely to solve the mystery, and Mitsuko finds Saku quite capable, but very curious, and takes him on as her new assistant. Can this duo tackle cases and the turbulent atmosphere of the Showa era? So I am not very familiar with 1920s Japan, and I think that this is going to be so interesting just to kind of get glimpses into that time period. Plus, I love detective stories. I love mysteries. I've mentioned this in videos before, and this one seems really fun. I especially love it when we have these quirky characters, quirky detectives who are solving the mysteries, and that sounds like exactly what this is. So I'm really excited to try this. Then I had 2 orders come in from Dazzling Bookish shop. So the first one is their edition of The Scottish Boy by Alex de Campi. So what they do with some of their editions is give you like an alternate dust jacket and then beautiful sprayed edges on the original paperback. So the book underneath is the standard paperback edition, but they give you, I mean, they really do like have gorgeous artists that work with them. They can be kind of expensive considering you are just getting the standard edition of the book with like some extra bits, and it's not, you know, like a fine press edition. There's no like Smith's own binding, acid-free paper. It's just a standard book, so it can be quite expensive, and that does kind of put me off from ordering from them sometimes. But and it's not like illustrated or anything, but I've been interested in reading The Scottish Boy for a while, and their edition is so gorgeous. I just had to. I just had to get it. So when so this was actually a reprint, and I was so disappointed when I realized that they had printed this in the past and I didn't know about it, but then they reprinted it and put it up for pre-order, and I was able to snag a copy. So it is 1333, and Edward III is at war with Scotland. Newly knighted Sir Harry jumps at a powerful baron's invitation to ride north on a secret mission. A dozen knights attack a crumbling Scottish keep, capturing a feral, half-starved teen barely a year younger than Harry. When Harry shields the Scottish boy from the other knights' cruelty, they force Harry to take him as his squire. At first, it's hopeless. The Scottish boy is surly, violent, and interested only in freedom. But over an uneasy autumn, the boy realizes he can have his victory and his revenge on tilt yards just as well as battlefields. With the Scottish boy by his side, Harry wins tournament after tournament and becomes a favorite of King Edward. But underneath the pageantry smolder twin secrets, a growing passion and the Scottish boy's mysterious heritage. As England once again hurtles towards war, these secrets threaten to consume everything Harry holds dear. I also, staring at the back of this, just want to show you the standard cover in more detail because it is also beautiful. But we have Middle Ages setting, conflict between England and Scotland. Sounds like there's going to be romance. It just sounds really fun. And I will say, I did look it up to see, and this may be a spoiler if you want to flip ahead just a couple seconds. I'm just going to say it really quick, starting now. It did say online that this does have an eventual happy ending. Okay, done with the spoiler, but I did have to check that before I got this because I was so afraid that it wasn't going to. And I can handle dark themes, and it sounds like there are some dark themes in here, but I just wanted that reassurance. So before I spent all this money on this edition, so I had to check. Then the other book that I got from Dazzling Bookish shop was one of their monthly subscriptions. I can't remember what month it was. I feel like it was probably September, maybe. But that is their edition of When Haru Was Here by Dustin Thau. And this one, it's gorgeous, guys. Like the color scheme, purple is my favorite color. This is beautiful. We have our sprayed edges. And again, it's over the standard edition, so I also get the really pretty standard dust jacket. And it came with a signed book plate. After the death of his best friend, Eric Lai creates imaginary scenarios in his head to deal with his grief, until one of them becomes real when a boy he met last summer in Japan finds his way back into his life. When he least expects it, Haru Tanaka walks into the coffee shop and sits down next to him. The only thing is, nobody else can see him. In a magical turn of events, Eric suddenly has someone to connect with, making him feel less alone in the world. But as they spend more and more time together, he begins to question what is real. When he starts losing control of the very thing that is holding him together, Eric must finally confront his reality, even if it means losing Haru forever. So this sounds absolutely heartbreaking. I have another one of Dustin Thau's books, which is You've Reached Sam. I'm pretty sure is what it's called. I'll put the cover up here. And I haven't read it quite yet because I want to read it in the spring, I think, but it also sounds heartbreaking. I think that might just be his thing. Like that might just be the kinds of stories that he writes. But when Dazzling Bookish Shop announced that this was going to be their monthly subscription, I had to get it because, I don't know, I think it's going to make me cry. I might regret this, but it's beautiful and it sounds really good, and I've heard a lot of praise for this author's writing, so here we go. All right, so now I have a set of books that came in from Fox and Wit that I had pre-ordered ages ago. So I got their first book in the Saint of Steel series by T. Kingfisher quite a while ago, and then they did the next 3 books in the series in matching editions. And so I pre-ordered them when they were announced so that I would have the full set. And Saint of Steel is one of the series in T. Kingfisher's World of the White Rat, which I haven't started yet. I do like to read these things in publication order, but I've heard so much praise for Saint of Steel specifically, and it sounds right up my alley. And I do make an exception with my rule about series when it comes to special editions, because I do, like, they're limited, right? They will go out of stock, they won't be available after a certain time, and I did want all my editions of these to match. So we do have books 2 through 4 here. So here we have book 2, Paladin's Strength, and these editions are just really pretty. I mean, the standard editions are as well, but there's something about these that just really like works for me. I don't know, but it has also cute art on the little flaps. Then we have book 3, Paladin's Hope. So essentially this series, Saint of Steel, we follow a group of paladins who the deity that they had pledged themselves to has been killed. So it deals a lot with identity and how you see yourself when the purpose that you had kind of created for yourself or bound yourself to or pledged yourself to is now gone. Like, what do you do? So it deals with grief. I know that there's a lot of mental health representation in here, but each book in the series, we follow a different paladin and their love interest. So you can see on these covers the paladin and the love interest. And then this is book 4, Paladin's Faith. Then I also got in a pre-order from LitJoy Crate, which is Grip of the Shadow Plague. This is book 3 in Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. So I know, and it's really hard to show on camera, but it's like, I think it's faux leather embossed on the cover. The embossing is very, very detailed in person. I don't know how much of that comes across on camera, but then we have beautiful end papers. And I've mentioned Fablehaven before in previous book hauls recently, actually. But here's the back end papers. It's one of those, I think, middle grade series where we have children who discover this like magical world and get enmeshed in it. And I think something about like maybe their grandparents kind of protect it or take care of it. I'm not really sure, but I've mentioned before, and then we have Gilded Edges. I've mentioned before that I love these types of stories, and this is not one that I myself read when I was a child, so I'm really excited to get the chance to actually read it now. Okay, so 5 books left. I know that this is taking quite a while because this was a big book haul. So the next two, I actually got one from Owlcrate and one from Pango Books. I'm actually going to show you the Pango one first for reasons. But I went on to Pango and found a copy of the Owlcrate edition of Foul Days. This is the first book in the Witch's Compendium of Monsters. I'm pretty sure yes, the Witch's Compendium of Monsters by Genevieve Demova. And it's so pretty. I've heard Elliot Brooks give this series very, very high praise. We have blue sprayed edges. And these editions, she got the Owlcrate edition of Foul Days as well. And when she was showing it on one of her book hauls, I just thought that it was absolutely beautiful. And hearing her praise for it just made me really excited to read the series. So then we have the naked hardcover with lots of foiling. And the front end papers. It is signed by the author. And then we have the back end papers. So I'll go ahead and read you the synopsis for this one. As a witch in the walled city of Chernograd, Kasara has plenty of practice treating lycanthrope bites, bargaining with kikimoras, and slaying blood-sucking upirs. There's only one monster she can't defeat, her ex, the Zmei, known as the Tsar of Monsters. She's defied him one too many times, and now he's hunting her. Betrayed by someone close to her, Kasara's only choice is to trade her shadow, the source of her powers, for a quick escape. Unfortunately, Kasara soon develops the deadly sickness that plagues shadowless witches, and only reclaiming her magic can cure her. To find it, she's forced to team up with a suspiciously honorable detective. Even worse, all the clues point in a single direction. To get her shadow back, Kasara will have to face the Foul Days' biggest threats without it, and she's only got 12 days. But in a city where everyone is out for themselves, who can Kasara trust to assist her in outwitting the biggest monster from her past? So, I got this copy on Pango because I found an edition that was cheaper than it was selling for on Owlcrate. But then I got the sequel, Monstrous Knights, from Owlcrate. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm struggling to talk today. I don't know what's up with that, but please forgive me. Please just bear with me. So I got the sequel, Monstrous Knights, from Owlcrate. And this one has a purple color scheme. Again, really pretty. We have purple sprayed edges. Reverse dust jacket art with a dragon. Another dragon, y'all. I'm so happy. Then we have the naked hardcover, again with lots of foiling. Front end papers. It is signed by the author as well. And then the back end papers. So this just sounds really fun. It sounds like it's going to have like Russian folklore. I'm assuming Russian. I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on it. And Elliot Brooks loved the first one. She said she expected to like it, but she was surprised by just how much she enjoyed it. And that made me really excited. So I had some points to spend on Owlcrate, and I found the first one for pretty cheap on Pango. And so I ordered this one from Owlcrate. All right, so then we have 3 more books to show you, and then I also want to kind of start showing any like bookish merch that I get in the month, because I really like seeing that in people's book hauls, so I'll just do that very, very quickly at the end. But the last 3 books that I have came from Rainbow Crate Book Box or Bookish Box. They came from Rainbow Crate. And I had pre-ordered these ages ago. It is a set of their Prism editions of Court of Broken Bonds by Ben Alderson. So we have the first book, Heir to Thorn and Flame, and there is so much beautiful foiling. Look at the dragon's eye. And again, dragons. We have dragons, which is one of the reasons that I got this. This foiling is really pretty. By the way, can you see like the prism effect? Then we have sprayed edges that look like dragon scales. On the on the inside flap, we have this like nutrition facts that talks about like the genre, demographics, representation, things like that in the book. But then under the dust jacket, we have, oops, it's got dust on it, art on the naked hardcover. I don't know how well you can see on camera, but there is a dragon here. Again, with beautiful foiling. And we have the front end papers. It is signed by the author, and then the back end papers. And I'll go ahead and read the synopsis for this first book before I show you the other two in the series. Married to a ruthless prince. For years, Max had to serve and obey the vicious magical nobles. Now, he is one of them. When the heir to the throne attacks him, Max accidentally responds with a lethal burst of magic. Max is certain he will be executed, but his power is too rare and precious for that. Instead, the king forces him to become the boy he killed, taking on the identity and duties of the heir. That includes an arranged marriage to the dangerously attractive Prince Cameron. Living a lie, Max knows he can trust no one. Not Cameron, and definitely not Simeon. I'm not sure how you say his name. A handsome, dragon-riding spy sent to test his loyalty. As a deadly struggle for power begins and desire sparks, Max must protect his secret and his heart at all costs. So I am a little bit nervous that there may be some infidelity in here, which I don't like. I don't like that as a trope at all. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's not. But we do have, you know, political intrigue and dragons and magic and hopefully romance that I'm going to enjoy. So we'll see. But that is the first book in the series. Then we have book number 2, Heir to Frost and Storm. Again, really beautiful foiling, really beautiful dragon. The back. We have more dragon scales on the end papers, this time in like a pretty bronze color. More art on the naked hardcover. The front end papers. It is signed by the author, and the back end papers. So what really intrigued me about this one was I heard romance and dragons, and I've seen praise for Ben Alderson's writing from some people online, and I just wanted to try it, so I got it. I really hope I like it. I really hope it works for me. But then we have the final book, book 3, Heir to Dreams and Darkness. Again, well, this time we have, looks like a phoenix on the cover, which is cool. Some more dragon scales. This time they are red on the edges. The naked hardcover. And then the front end papers, which just look really cozy to me. I really like that one. The signature and the back end papers. So the back end papers give me hope we're going to have a happy ending for this series. Okay, so it is 2 days later. It's actually the morning of Halloween, and I realized last night while I was finishing up editing the last part of this video that I left out a couple books because I was in a rush Tuesday morning because I had to go into work early to have a meeting with a student before class, and I did not check my list. This is why I make lists. I should check them. So I do have 2 more books to show you before we get into like the Bookish merch at the end of this video. And I also will say that I got another series set from Rainbow Crate, but there was an issue with the dust jackets, so they are sending out new dust jackets to everybody. So I'm just going to wait and show those to you once I get the new dust jackets. So the first one that I have here I got from Books A Million, And that is a copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This is the first book in the Harry Potter series, and it has the same cover as the anniversary editions. I can't remember what number they were, but the spines make like an image of Harry and Hermione and Ron flying on the dragon. And so I already have a copy of this edition, but they released a new version that has sprayed edges. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it's like the golden snitch flying around. There, when I tilt it like that, you can see it better. So I pre-ordered this. Oh, I just realized that I think the yellow coloring is not as bright on the side and the bottom. I wonder what happened, but anyway, so I ordered this because Harry Potter is one of my favorite series of all time. I've loved it since I was very small, and I try to collect all of the editions, so I got this. If you don't know what Harry Potter's about, we follow Harry, who at the age of 11 learns that he is a wizard, and he has been raised by his aunt and uncle after his parents died when he was a baby. And they are not very kind to him. They treat him horridly, but he learns that he's a wizard, and he gets to go to school at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and finally make friends and immerse himself in this magical world that he didn't know existed and learn about his parents for the first time. And he also learns that he is famous for defeating the Dark Lord Voldemort when he was a baby. And there are dark forces in this. It's wonderful. If you've never heard of Harry Potter, I highly recommend that you read the series. The books do age up as they go. There are 7 of them, and as the characters age, the story gets more and more complex and has more serious topics, and it does seem to age with it, with the characters as well. So I love Harry Potter, and this is really pretty. I am really disappointed that the yellow is so faded on those 2 sides. I don't know why. That's really strange, and it's also interesting that I just now noticed it. I guess maybe I just didn't look at the top. I don't know. That's weird. Then the other book that I got that I forgot to show you is from Fairy Loot, and that is their edition of Howl's Moving Castle. This is the first book in the Howl series by Diana Wynne Jones. I love Howl's Moving Castle. It has such pretty foiling on the front. This edition is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, the colors, the art, it's so lovely. It has really pretty sprayed edges. But in Howl's Moving Castle, we follow a girl named Sophie who is cursed by the Witch of the Wastes to become an old woman. She works in a hat shop, and this lady is very displeased with her and curses her. So Sophie decides to go on an adventure, and she meets the wizard Howl in his moving castle and becomes his housekeeper. And she's trying to find a way to break her curse, but also just kind of living her life at this point as this old woman. And it's a wonderful, whimsical, very classic type of fantasy story. I love it so much. We also have this beautiful art on the reverse dust jacket. And the art on this one is very inspired, I think, at least as far as the character designs and their outfits. The castle is not. But the character designs and their outfit on the front cover are very inspired by the Ghibli film of Howl's Moving Castle. And Fairy Loot is doing editions of a lot of the books that inspired Ghibli movies, which I think is amazing. And I've already ordered their edition of Kiki's Delivery Service, and will be ordering the other 2 books in the Howl series when they are released. They've already announced them, and they also look beautiful. But I will say, if you've seen the film, the book is remarkably different. I mean, the characters are the same, like in their personalities, but the story itself is very, very different. And this edition is illustrated by Tim Stevens. I'll see if I can find, well, it has these pretty chapter heading illustrations. So we have Sophie in her hat shop. And I wonder if it's got any, I don't think it has any full page illustrations. I think it's chapter heading illustrations, but they're very pretty as well. And then the back end papers are the same. So yeah, Howl's Moving Castle. And now we're going to go back to Past Aubrey from 2 days ago to finish out this video with any bookish goodies that I got this past month. Alright, so those are all of the books that I got in the month of October, but as I said earlier, I kind of want to go over like any Bookish merch that I got in the month because I really like seeing that in people's videos. But the first thing is I got this shirt from Nerdy Ink's Halloween line. It's not like merch from a series or a particular book, but I just think it's really cute because it's a little haunted library book club. I love it. I got my mom one and my brother one as well. And then I got his girlfriend, they had two other designs, and one of them, it says Hocus Pocus, and it has 3 little cats with witch hats around a cauldron, and they remind me a lot of the Sanderson sisters, so I got that one for her. And then from Owlcrate, I got 2 of their like story doorways. So I got the one from The Lord of the Rings, so it's the Shire, and it says, "Home is behind, the world ahead, and there are many paths to tread." So they chose to do, as I said, it's themed with the Shire from The Lord of the Rings, and they chose to do a hobbit hole door. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be bag end, but it's really, really cute. And then I got the one from the Chronicles of Narnia, which says "Courage, Dear Heart," and it's, of course, the wardrobe. So we have, this door is open and you can see the lamppost into the forest, and then the closed door there. So I really like these. However, I kind of hate the way they're designed to stand up, because you have this piece of metal that you are supposed to stick into the bottom of it. There's like a little slot, which first of all, it's really hard to like actually get it stable. And also it's unnecessarily long. Like, why couldn't they have just designed it with the wood, just like a little lip of wood on the back, just so it could stand? I don't want to use these. I'm gonna try to see if I can get these to stand up without these, because I just don't like that design, but it is what it is. But yeah, so I did get those. Alright, so that is it. That is the end of my October book haul. As I said, I am filming this a little bit early, but I don't think I have anything that's going to arrive in the next 2 days. If it does, I'll just stick a little clip in here somewhere of it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have you gotten any new books recently? I would love to hear about it. Or if you are interested in any of these now, or if you've read any of them and you think that I should prioritize any of them and try to read them sooner rather than later, I would love to hear your thoughts. Just please keep them spoiler free. But I genuinely like to talk to you guys in the comments. It really makes me happy to get to interact with you guys, because it's one of the reasons that I decided to make a booktube, is just to get to talk to people about books and stories and things that we love. So it really makes me happy. If you would like to do an emoji, like if you want to leave it with your comment, or if you want to just let me know you're here but you're not sure what to say, you can just leave a little emoji down there. Let's do your favorite Halloween themed emoji or fall themed emoji in honor of Halloween, because this video will be coming out on Friday, November the 1st, so the day after Halloween. So let's do a Halloween emoji. I think that'll be good. You could leave a little ghost, like on my shirt, or a jack-o'-lantern, a bat, a vampire, some autumn leaves, whatever makes you happiest. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you are having a wonderful day and a wonderful night wherever you are, and that you have had a fantastically spooky and magical Halloween if you celebrate. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!